Hello, my name is Miguel Arboleda. I live in Japan, and right now I'm sitting on top of a mountain behind my home in Ashiya, Japan. It's a place I love to come to. I get up here whenever I can, between work, on the weekends, sometimes in the evenings. It's a place I can get away from the hectic part of life in Japan, and from work, and get back to myself. And that's what this channel is, something that I would like to look at, what I'd like to address. For me, since I was a child, nature has been the center of my life. It's been what's defined me. It's been what helped me find the direction I want to go in my life. It's what basically gives meaning to just about everything in my life. And what I want to do throughout the time that I make these videos is to look at different aspects of what it means to be human, what it means to live in the natural world, the connection between them, what kinds of things we think and what kinds of things that we can do to help us better live with the natural world. There are so many things about the way that we live today that makes it very complicated to understand exactly what direction to go in. These questions are not simple, they're quite difficult. So many aspects that we have to think about that it's not possible for one individual to come to a conclusion about what it is that they need to do or need to think. So that's what I'd like to do, is I'd like to look at different things that we all incorporate in our lives when it comes to living in human society, living in the natural world, what it means to be human, what nature is, what the separation is between humans and nature, and what the connection is between human and nature. And I'll look at things that affect me personally, things that I've done and things that I've dreamed about, things that I've learned over the years when considering nature and how it is that nature affects me and what nature ought to be when we think of an ideal way of living. But also, I'd like to maybe look at other people and other ways of thinking, other cultures, and how they think about nature. It tends to be quite different when you go from culture to culture, country to country. Everyone has sometimes very different ways of looking at human beings and nature. So I'd like to address more of those different things. For me, my very first, earliest memory of consciously being aware of nature was when I was a child in New York City. I think I must have been about 3 or 4 years old. I don't really remember. Outside of the window of the kitchen of our house, my mother had set up a lattice work for beans. And it was spring, and on the lattice work there was a small praying mantis egg sac. It's a hard, feels almost like plastic, soft plastic with a hard outside edge to it. About the size of this. And every fall, the female praying mantises will squirt the egg sac onto a branch or leaf or some kind of stable place above the ground. And inside there will be hundreds of eggs. The female praying mantis will stay with those eggs sometimes all throughout the winter if they can hold up in the cold to protect the eggs. And usually by spring the mother has died and the egg sacs are alone. And they will be sitting in that one place until it gets warmer. And I happened to find the egg sac sometime in the winter, and I was watching it all spring long. One morning, about June, when it was quite warm outside, I happened to go outside and I saw the egg sac, and it was different from the way it was before. When I approached it, it was covered with little white things. I didn't know what they were. And they were all very slowly moving. When I got closer and I looked very carefully at it, I realized that there were hundreds and hundreds of small baby praying mantises. That image still remains in my mind all these years later, now that I'm almost 60. It was a insight into the world that from that point on made the world alive for me, and it made the world a really, really special and beautiful place. So for me, a lot of the living creatures that other people often have trouble with, I tend to love. And even today, I don't get bothered by wasps flying around or cockroaches running around, things like that. When I was in junior high school, all the classmates would tell me that I was one day going to marry a cockroach because I loved insects and animals so much. I never did marry a cockroach, but I still love the cockroaches. But I love all life. I love the way that they live around us. I love that they're there. I love that they provide a separate approach to being alive, a separate approach to surviving, a separate approach to just being. And if you look at the different kinds of living things, each one of them has their own way of approaching the world. Human beings are part of this. And that first memory of those praying mantises helped me understand, in that way, that I am part of it too. So all my life I've been trying to find a way to be part of it. Find a way where it doesn't feel as if it's not an integral part of who I am. And that's quite difficult to do. When you live in an artificial world, all you see is artificial things. I'm a teacher. I used to teach elementary school and also high school, but more recently, mostly I've been teaching at universities. And it's often surprising to me when I talk to my students. I have been to a lot of mountains. I love mountain climbing. And so I've been into some very, very remote areas, places that are quite far from the city, quite far from artificial world, quite far from conveniences. One of the things, for instance, that you see when you're in remote places are things like stars. It always surprises me when I talk to students and they tell me they've never really seen the stars and they don't even know what the Milky Way is. I've been lucky. I have had a chance to see things like the Milky Way in all of its full glory. If you've never seen the Milky Way in its full glory, I recommend, if you ever have a chance in your life, get to a remote place away from the lights of the city and look up. And you will see something that the people in ancient times were in love with. I mean, it helped create the stories that all of us tell today. And that is what we live in. We live in this absolutely glorious, absolutely beautiful place, and we're part of it. And what I'd like to do is to show you some of the beauty, show you some of the things about how to be in it when you're hiking, and you need to be able to put up your shelter, things, simple things like that. But I'd also like to show you, if I can, some of the creatures that other people may not see very often. I'd like to talk about some of the philosophical issues that we have about being human and about nature. Maybe talk about some of the ideas that other people have had over the years when they think about nature and how we live with it, what we do with it. Anyway, there's a lot that I'd like to go over, and hopefully I'll have a chance to take you to some of the places in Japan. If I ever have a chance to get out to other countries, I'll try to show you some of the things there too. But for now, focus on Japan. I'll take you out to the wild places in Japan. Take you out to the small, to the microcosm, the world of insects, the world of birds, if I can possibly get the videos to catch them. They're quite hard to catch. Yeah, try to talk about plants, try to talk about rivers, seasides, mountains, forests, different things like that. It was nice to meet you all, and let's see each other again soon. All right, take care.